haven't done a video in 10 days with you guys. There was one day I just, my arm and all that kind of stuff. Speaking of which, I better put this on before we get started. um, but I did a lot more work since the last video. I mean, there's just a lot of times where, I just want to listen to my music and have the music going and, get in the zone. And last time we talked, I was showing you how to get the neck done. And obviously, you can see right here that I got it done. So we did the gun stock stain. My fret markers are done. So let you see right here. That's from my wood burning kit. And one of the tips is, I don't know how we can tell that, but one of the tips is like a cog, like a gear. So I kind of did it like this, and then I rotated it one way, rotated it another way, and I kind of made it look like, somebody had a piece of brass. And like I said, since we're sticking with the Fallout theme and the Fallout story, I figured the story behind this guy is, like I said, so the neck pocket is extra routed to make it look like somebody just took a knife and tried to... So it's not like my normal pretty guitars you guys have seen over the years. But I still dig the look. It's Fallout. It's awesome. But I finished profiling my neck, and then took 2 extra days after I talked to you guys. And then the weather was going to turn really, really cold again. So I had to spend about 7 hours that day finally finishing sanding and getting it nice and smooth. Getting the tuners in now. So, and, finally getting a stain and finally getting my poly on. I hate the light in this kitchen, but I don't know how well you guys can tell how shiny that is. It was originally darker than this, but it was too dark. It didn't really match the box. So I just went back and I didn't let the stain sit on there as long as I wanted for the darker effect. So I just quickly took it off, and I'm like, you know what? It matches the box just fine. I know it's hard to tell in here. I'll have to get you outside once we, get things done. But like I said, the neck's done. The last time I talked to you guys too, I had to get my blocks done on the inside of here to make this neck sit perfect, nice and flush. So basically today what I have to do is pop this back down here. What I have to do is I have, if you guys remember, my buddy Donnie from good old New York, he made these hardtails out of whiskey barrel straps. But this one's a 3-stringer, so what I have to do is I gotta mark my hole, which is why I use this guy on all my builds. So I gotta get the hole marked, get that drilled. I need to, after that, flip it around, and then I need to get a hole drilled so I can get a guitar strap peg in here. And then after that, guys, we're going to be taking my frets, and I just need to dress them up a little bit. They still have a little bit of that poly gloss that I put on here, which is this stuff right here. Oh, nope, that's my gun stock stain. Hold on a second. What's up, guys? And that's my poly. It's a warm gloss. So, and this is hickory. So, it's a lot harder, it's a lot rougher. But the stain just turned out beautiful with that poly. There you go. You guys can see it now. It's a warm gloss. Because I don't have a regular guitar, the old shellac from back in the day. That's what I would use on these necks. So that's about the closest as what would look like that old shellac that they would use on the old Fenders back in the 50s and Gibsons too. But we need to get these nice and dressed. Get a little bit more of that that poly, that clear coat that dried, and just make them shine a little bit better. They're not bad, but I want them to shine better. So we'll go over that stuff with you guys. Get that done. And it's almost string up time for this thing. But of course, I have to get the pickup done. There's my pot, 250, and there's the volume knob for it. It's a good old Nuka-Cola cat. Like I said, I would use from the very beginning. I think that's cool. And of course, that. There we go. So when I play this thing, like this, uh, my palm is almost gonna rest. This guy right here, wearing the sticker out, I'm just going to get my nice poly and put poly on it, plus protect the bullet holes. I'm going to do the same thing on the back, protect the bullet holes. I haven't decided whether I'm going to wood burn fallout on the back of this, or I'm going to use, set this over here. Alright, whether I'm going to, or I'm going to wood burn this. What's up, guys? How are you? So I haven't decided if I'm going to wood burn fallout on the back, and with my hand trimmers and such, or I'm going to put this on the back. I haven't decided. This is the Fallout New Vegas. I haven't taken them out of the package since I got them. I've been keeping them nice and safe. So I haven't decided whether I'm going to put the decal on the back or wood burn fallout on the back. I haven't decided that yet. If so, I got to draw myself up a stencil for it. And my wife found these guys too, which is pretty cool. These are pretty funny. So I haven't really decided yet, but also since the last time I talked with you guys, I didn't shoot that video that day. I was going to about painting the original Soap Bar P90. But I just went ahead and did it. It's emerald green with pearl, so a flake. And then a buddy of mine, he was talking to me, and he said, man, are you going to tarnish that? Or are you going to leave it nice and shiny? And I'm like, well, the emerald green with flake paint's very expensive. But you know what? I said, we're going with Fallout here. We're going with the whole idea that some dude beat this up. Yes, this doesn't look like one of my fancy guitars I build. But like I said, it's trying to make it look like somebody took a pocket knife. So, of course, the route right here is larger than it would fit it normally. But I wanted that post-apocalyptic vibe. We've got real 9mm rounds slung through here, front and back. But after it was done, I decided that I'd go back and distress it just a little bit. And it still shines pretty good in the light. But to get that original cream color of the Soap Bar P90 through it. But honestly, if you guys are friends with me on Facebook or Instagram, if some of you guys are, you can look at those pictures and this thing is awesome. It just fits the build, you know? And the nice, and so with my fret markers, I said it was a cog. So what I tried to do is I tried to rotate the cog every which way. I don't know why you guys can tell, right? Like this one. I tried to rotate the cogs, and what I tried to do is I tried to make that look like, you know, somebody sitting around a campfire and decided to take a round and decided to take a pair of pliers they had, heat up the back of the round, and just wood burn their fret markers in. And I haven't decided yet whether this nice 223, it's a non-NATO, it's a 223, not a 556. But I haven't decided whether I'm going to use this as my saddle, or I've got a couple of 9mm rounds I could use to make my saddle out of, because we're going with the whole, you know, Fallout thing. So I haven't decided that either. What I know is that we're almost done. I got to get wiring done. I just want to clean these frets with you guys. Show you guys how I clean frets anyways on a normal 6-string, except my telly doesn't need it, but this is the same concept. There's just only 4 strings instead of 6, and these are the old 1950 reissue parlor tuners. I love these guys. It reminds me of my 1950 uh, Fender that I have upstairs. My Sunburst acoustic. I mean, not Sunburst. The Tobacco Burst acoustic. And these things are incredible. And of course, every one of my guitars I do, depending on what the theme is, I always like to use a headstock adornment. So if you guys remember, we're using a Nuka-Cola cap with the star to tie in with the whole thing. So I'm going to get this done with you. I'm going to shut up my fan now because it's about 87 degrees today. And too early to still put in the air conditioner. So we're running fans, got the fan for the geetars going. And old Millie's in there, so she's not with me today. She's deciding for a play day. But I'm going to get this drilled out here on what I need. So basically what I'm doing is, I wish I had more cameras, a better camera angle, but so like I said, this hardtail is made out of whiskey bridge. We only have 3 holes for a 3-stringer, which means I need to take my template here, put it perfectly over top to do a 4th hole, get that 4th hole drilled, then flip this thing around, and right dead center of this, I'm going to drill a bigger hole for a strap button. So that's what we're doing today, just a little bit of stuff. Once I get going here, I'll talk about the stuff I want to talk about today. So if you guys just want to hang out for a minute, grab a drink if you're not at work today, or if you're on your lunch break or something, we're going to be slinging a little bit of metal here and getting back on this thing. I'm kind of putting off my solder. The last couple days have been bad, and my hand trimmers are horrible today, even putting the brace on. So, but hey, Hoosier. So we're gonna get around to this. Do what I want to do to that. Then we'll get to dressing the frets. And while I'm redressing the frets here, we'll get into some musical stuff that I wanted to talk about with you guys today. But like I said, I appreciate some of you guys. I know it's a work day, but if some of you guys are retired and at home, kind of like myself, just hang in there with me, and I'll check my messages every once in a while, guys. No. Oh, who are you again? Neeg. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. No, this is not a banjo. This is a four-string electric 25.5-inch scale, just like the old, the scale of this, meaning from your nut to where your saddle is going to be. That is the length of your instrument, and I wanted to do this one 25.5-inch, just like an old 1950s Fender Esquire. Because I mostly build anywhere from 23-inch scale to 24 or 25 or 25.5-inch scale. I don't really build anything lower beyond that point. But that's what that means. I don't know if some of you guys know that. But basically the scale of your instrument, so like if you look up a Fender and you look up the specs, and you're like, well, what's the scale length of the Fender? You're always going by your nut. In this case, my nut is a a jumbo Jescar fret instead of, bone or antler, just anything like that. And then you're going from right where your 0 fret is to wherever your saddle's going to land. In this case, my saddle's going to be right here. So not a banjo. I have been working on one. I set it aside before my accident happened last year. And I'm building a banjo out of an old Chevy hubcap. And then the neck itself is actually made out of an old axe handle. I was working on it, set it back aside, so hopefully sometime this year I'll get to it. But we're building this one, and then after this one we're going with a 1950s shovel. That's a coal shovel. They used to work on the Allegheny in Pennsylvania. So that coal shovel is going to be a cool slide guitar. It's getting another hot pickup. And then I'm out of wood after the next build after this, so I got to get more wood. which wood is very expensive with the stuff I want to build. The next guitar after this one, besides working off and on the 1950 coal shovel that you guys can win, we're going to be doing the out. It's called Outlaw, and that one is going to be a special tobacco burst made out of a mixture of this, my gunstock stain, and my honey stain. So we're doing the outside circle and gunstock, the inside of honey stain. We're putting an F hole in it because I would love to have a Fender thin line again. So we're gonna be doing some cool builds this year. But I really wanted to start with the Fallout one because this came about in October. The idea for this came about October last year. I was sitting around playing Fallout, hanging out with my wife, and my wife turned to me, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and my wife said, well, why don't you make a Fallout guitar? And I'm like, you know what, son of a bitch, I'm in. So this is when we started going down this path about actually putting 9mm rounds through a box instead of drill holes, and I wanted it to be a Silk Bar P90. This thing's very comfortable. The heel is absolutely comfortable. This thing is going to be a awesome rocker, and this Silk Bar P90 is actually made to Gibson specs from the 1950s to the 1960s. So this thing will sound like it belongs on an old Victrola record or something, you know? Oh. Man, I tell you what, man. These things are incredible. You know, these guitars are what started it all before Fender, Gibson, Gretsch, anybody out there. Muddy Waters, B.B. King, Bo Diddley. They all played a diddley bow, and then they all built themselves a 2-string, which is a chugger, or a 3-string cigar box guitar. Some of the most famous musicians of all time in blues made these guitars. They're awesome. They're cool. And not to mention, I can't afford to go out and buy a Fender, a Gibson, or a Gretsch. So I like to build these cool guitars for myself, but I build them for other people too. So that's why I'm building the Fallout guitar in hopes that some of you guys out there might like this guitar, and you would like a custom Fallout guitar by me. But anyways, let me get the holes drilled in here, and then do what I need to do, and then we'll get to dressing frets and get to. Keep trying to look for your questions out there, guys. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate you thinking it's cool. I try to explain the best I can. I'm not used to explaining to people about stuff. But if it wasn't for my wife and my oldest daughter, who's now 27, if it wasn't for my wife or my daughter, I wouldn't know internet stuff at all. I wouldn't have thought about doing all this stuff. But we are in the dawn of age to where you can share your craft with people now instead of word of mouth. And yeah, man, go. I mean, even some of you guys go check out. You have to go back, I think, a year and a half or 2 years ago. Check out the washboard builds. Those were in 1925. One was in 1925. One was in 1930s. Washboard that came out of a buddy of mine's grandma's basement from her log cabin that they were tearing down, and they survived. And I built a killer diddley bow out of one of those, and I built a killer 3-string guitar from that washboard, and we used an awesome pickup for it. I love those guitars, so you guys check those out. But yeah, so let me get this stuff done here. Sweat more, because I gotta turn that darn fan off. And it's hot today. Still too early to put in air conditioners. Get the holes drilled. I'll flip it around like this so you guys can see. So what I have to do is like I said, my buddy made this hardtail for me. This right here, he made a few of them for me out of the straps that go around whiskey barrels. So this is a whiskey barrel strap. But I have to add the 4th hole, and then I have to add a hole right here for my strap button. I'm going to be doing one right here. That's where the jack goes. That's where my jack goes. We're going to put the strap button about right here, dead center. Well, let's move it. Yeah, about right here is where my strap button's going to be. I haven't decided if I'm going to put another strap button here, or I might go up my neck a little bit and maybe right at the 12th fret, maybe put another one there, or just put it here and here. I don't know. I think about it, and then I just go with it. So that's what you're going to be seeing me do is that. But we'll get to the other stuff in a little bit. I want to make sure I'm not missing all your questions, guys. I'll try to keep paying attention. I appreciate you guys tuning in, man. In case some of you guys are at work on your lunch break, I appreciate you stopping by. So let me get this done. And then we'll get to other fun stuff. I'm going to line this up perfectly, so that's what you're going to see me do is concentrate here. There. That's about right. Okay. Alright, so we got that marked out. Alright, let me get the stuff off here a minute so I can sit down. Oh, I need to sit down. Okay. Get myself down here a little bit. Before I get to drilling all that and having some fun with that, these guitars that I build, I have two things in mind when I build these guitars. Well, actually, okay, a few different things. One is sometimes the idea just happens and it pops in my head, and I run with it. Sometimes I have to write it down because sometimes I'll forget a few hours. Other times, like I said, some come to me like a bat in the belfry and I go, some don't. But the biggest thing about making these guitars that I have in mind is, for example, I can't go out and, find a 59 Les Paul gold top, or even the Epiphones now. They're not really affordable. Those guitars cost about as much as your rent cost. So I only have my telly. And you guys have always seen the tattoo of my Gibsons I used to own. That's the Sunburst. And that one was my Flying V that I painted or turquoise. So I can't afford to buy the guitars that I want to buy. So since I build folk art guitars, or as some of us call it, CBG, cigar box guitars, I want to build those to be as close sounding, as a. So that's where this one is getting. I have a lot of soap bar P9, but that's where that soap bar comes in. The other one I want to get a lipstick tube because I love Dan Electro. I used to. It was black with a sparkly white pit guard. I love that thing. I try to think of these guitars, and you can take a cigar box and you could make a 6-string out of it with the 6-string neck. But the problem is you have to add a lot of reinforcement. You literally, when you open the box, you have to line the whole inside with thick wood. And then, you're cutting your pocket, that square pocket, like a normal. So there's a lot of work to go into building a cigar box guitar if you want to do it 6-string wise. I hope that makes sense. So, building these 1-stringers, 3-string and 4-stringers, I try to get pretty much close to adaptation of, like I said, my necks. I do a C shape, or I do the baseball bat like a D shape, my way. But of course, I do customer builds too. If somebody wants a guitar, you get a hold of me, and we can talk price and all that kind of stuff. So some of these guitars, like this one you're seeing, it's mine. It's my personal one. But if somebody's coming to me and going, I want a 3-string this way, or I'm a southpaw, or I have to adapt and build a different guitar. But when I build these guitars, I want these guitars to be as close sounding as it gets. So I make sure I get the best cigar boxes that ring the loudest. Most of them are poplar. Some of them are Brazilian wood. They just, like, this one wouldn't make a good cigar box. This one's one of those, uh, oh, what do they call that stuff? The thin stuff, like particle board. So, like this one, another one over there holds all my stuff. Uh, but these boxes are perfect. If you go back and check out some of my older videos, go back to 2 years ago, because last year I couldn't build because of my brain bleed, my accident that I had, and having to learn how to walk again, talk again, all that fun stuff. So go back about 2 years ago, and you can go back even 3 years ago, and see some of the cooler ones I did, and some of the songs I was working on, because I'm trying to work on writing more songs to try to get stuff, to go to good old Nashville and try to get some good old songs released. Um, but yeah, so that's my thought and my logic of doing these is I want to make these as close as I can to actual cigar boxes. Make sure I don't miss none of your stuff. So I mean, I hope that makes sense to you guys. Um, maybe another video down the road I can go back and we can go up to the guitar racks that I built out of 2x4s and pallet legs. And I can pick through some of the guitars. Some of them are still for sale that are out there. But yeah, I like to do different guitars, and that's why having all the templates that I have, having this guy for my scarf joints, which creates the perfect back angle, 15 degrees. And these are my templates for 4-string, 3-string, and even my string. Words. This is where your string alignment is. So you can put this up against the fretboard, like I'm going to have to do here in a little bit before I fret this thing. Is I have to hold this guy up here, and I'll lightly put my marks. Then I'll take my trusty fret file the grooves in. I also have grooves up here. These notches right here. So when the string runs up, the string will also sit in this pocket. So what I'm wanting this to do is, when they sit in these grooves, right there, you can see it with my finger. When they sit in these grooves, the strings are going to be vibrating the neck, the box. So the neck and the box are going to work hand in hand. And how can I put this the right way? It's going to sound like a tuning fork. You hit that tuning fork, everything is alignment, everything falls hand in hand. I'm trying to get this right, so hopefully you guys understand. And then another thing that will have to happen is Bender. This is the first guitar I built without a back angle. I do a back angle at 12 degrees, meaning that the wood that's in here, like this block, I usually cut this back up to my pocket of where my pickup's going to be, and usually it's about a 12-degree slope. So we'll go deeper, and then we'll come up thinner. And that back angle, what that does normally is if you take your... Always get a... Always get... Always have either a yardstick available or get those metal ones. So what you do is you're going to put this on your nut or 0 fret if you're not using a nut. And like I said, I'm using a 0 fret. That's my jumbo Jescar. And it'll tell you your string pitch and your height of where your strings are going to lie. So for example, I think I might have to dig it out. Yeah, I'm going to have to dig it out. Alright. Okay, here you go. These are what we're going to be using today. These guys here, you put these over your frets. And you polish and dress your frets. That's what I'm going to have to use. So you got one that's for, jumbo frets, and you got one that's for medium frets. But this is a guy you need to carry in your wallet if you're a guitar player, or if you're building guitars. You can get your string pitch right, and your action. Focus camera. So what this is you have your electric guitar. You have low, you have high, and then you have an acoustic. And you have a medium or a classical guitar. So you can get your action and your pitch just right. And what this does too is it helps you with your saddle. In most cases, most guitars are all hardtails anyways. Not like these guys. We're using a adjustable saddle. So our saddle can move back and forth. So I hope that I hope some of you guys understand that these things aren't rocket science to build, guys. They really aren't. Hey, you're welcome. I appreciate you. Uh, they're not rocket science. But what I will say though is you have to be a player first before you think of the stuff that I'm telling you, because I learned that over the years of working in music shops with normal guitars, normal basses. You can even build a cigar box bass. You can build a 2-string or a 3-string. Go to www.cbgiddy.com. So, but it's not rocket science. But I think of building these guitars because it's history. These guitars were first before anything else, right? So you have to pay homage to what came before. And I think more people should build these. I think more people have these, I think you should see more musicians on stage, playing a normal 6-string for a minute, and then they're going to grab something like this monstrosity, and somebody's probably going to yourself, well, that's not going to sound good. It's going to sound good. Your tonality is in your fingers, and your tonality is in the wood. But in this case, with cigar boxes, your tonality is in your fingers and your wood. Well, you got a lot of wood to work through. You got these nice guys here, and these guys here. This is my maple. So maple is an incredible wood. But yeah, alright. Let me get back to drilling all that stuff, and then we'll get back to more music stuff if any of you guys want to know something or something. Blue Booper down in the comments, so I'll keep trying to, catch up with you guys. Oh, my drink's hot now. Ugh, gross. Alright. Let me get another drink so I need to get... It's so hot in here that all my drinks are... Okay. Okay. I'm in Lou. You come say hi to everybody? Alright. Alright. Let's jack back up here. You gonna say hi, Millie? Oh, you gonna come say hi? Then you make sure this is the right bit. Have to go down 2 more sizes, I think. Alright, 1 more, which is 3 sizes. Should be right. Yeah, that's right. Ooh, that's right for those, but not right for that. 4 sizes. What size them holes are? An 8. Alright. No, I need to do it smaller because we're gonna. Yep. Alright, never mind. I think it's this one right here. Alright. So we'll get done with all this stuff, and then we'll have some fun with dressing the frets and making them look better, give them a nice little polish. So, like I said, I'll get this done. Back up. Back up. Back up. This one's old school, man. This one's 1960s. It's done me pretty well. Half my stuff I use is old. But yeah, get that fourth hole drilled, and then we're going to drill the bigger hole for our strap button. Alright. Yeah, let me put one more on there just in case. Ugh. Ooh. Okay. Alright. Hey there, Millie Moo. Ah, son of a bitch. I'm getting my damn... Over here. Alright. Alright. Perfect. Alright. Okay. Alright, Millie Moo. Alright, so we'll get through with this. Alright. All I gotta do is do that, get that done, and then we'll get to polishing frets. Make sure I'm not missing anybody's comments here. Oh, I hear you there, man. Everything was made better back in the day. Everything from our cars to our great-grandma and grandpa's washer. As a matter of fact, my great-grandma, who died at 98, still had her old, I think it was like a Maytag or Sears. I can't remember what it was. Till my uncle bought their house and he took that out, but they still use that. But yeah, I just gotta get this done, and then we'll get to dressing frets, and I'll talk about some other stuff I want to talk about and help you guys out with. Like I said, I can't listen to my music while I'm doing my videos. Because YouTube will give me a spanking. Hi, Millie. You gonna say hi to everybody? Where you wanna go? You wanna wash her? Alright. That was Millie, guys. But yeah, get this done, and then we'll get to polishing frets here. Alright, I'll use this one. Yeah, let's switch it up. But yeah, I mean, it's just about, it's thinking about, thinking about yourself. But the biggest part is, like, if you're building for other people too, These things aren't popular, and I think they're not quote unquote popular for a reason. And I'll tell you a reason why. You can use the same wood, the same boxes, do the same sound holes or the same pickup, um, the same back angle on the wood, the same your same scarf joints, same stain, same whatever you're going to use. Like poly or the old not acrylic. Shellac, the old stuff they used to use to make all the fender necks, and those necks would be yellow. I mean, besides playing in bars through smoke, but um, is every single time you do that with these guitars, they all sound different. They don't sound the same. You could use the same pots, everything, and they all sound different. As a matter of fact, there was two that I did 2 years ago. I built them identically. Just the boxes, a different colors, the only thing. And both of them have a tone, different attitude. So doing it like this way. Where did it go? But I'll tell you what, these things are fun. They're fun because they're unique. Like I said, you can crank them out like an assembly line, but I don't know. It's just something about the cigar box guitar, and I've even made LPGs, license plate guitars, where you build a box that's the same dimensions as a license plate. License plate on the front, license plate on the back. You can use the pickup or make it acoustic, and they're absolutely incredible. And Millie's coming in the way again. Where you going, honey? Hey, people can't see. I don't think people want to stare at your derriere, honey. You want a dash chair? Come here. Come here. Ah, crap, I need this to do my frets. Shit. Come here, Millie. Come here. Alright, people can see. Sorry, guys. Millie wants to work with me like always. Millie, why don't you say hi to everybody? Alright, Millie, I'm going to move you over, honey. So another thing you guys can do, hold on a minute. What are you doing, honey? Another thing you guys can do is, and that's what's awesome about these. One string, two string, three string, four string. You don't need to use truss rods. But that's why somebody asked me. I don't know if it's one of you guys. Somebody got on TikTok, and I put this guitar up, and somebody asked me, would it snap? And I said no, because I'm using hard wood that's been petrified for a long time, and then I also make every single one of my heels. I make thick heels. Two reasons. One is most of my hardtails is my bridge. Most of mine I build are always on the back. I don't have any that are built up top. Mine, anyways. I have a few of my friends' builds. I always get out and play, and they have a regular hardtail like you would see on a six stringer. But every single one of mine, all I've used is where is the box? I've used the door hinges for your doors, your door jambs, and the same thing when you build your cabinets. And they work perfect. Here, I'll show you in this catch-all here. These guys right here. I use these guys mostly on my 3 strings. These are for your cabinets, your door hinges, door jamb. You can use these guys. And then my saddles are, I don't have any wood left for my saddles. That's why for these next couple builds, I'm going to have to use my, I have erasers that I don't use. And then I take those and I take these leftover guys, are my 9 millimeters, and, you know, super glue those on top of there and make a nice groove where they sit in there, so I like to bend. So I have to make a heavy groove so they don't pop out. But they sound great with the brass, man. That's just little quirky stuff I think of. Okay, now we need to get ready for fret dressing. See if I got any more questions down here. History's just fading away. We need to learn and remember. Exactly. Exactly. I hope you're still tuning in. I can never stress that enough. That's why most people. That's why I don't like real friends. Because I'm a history buff, and another thing is, music and music theory. I did all that stuff back in my incredible, wonderful young years of life. And so, classically trained. Also, most of you guys remember my great grandma. God rest her soul. Man, she was this close. She was 99. Man, she was 99. But all my great grandparents that I had, I grew up on, the Rip Roaring 20s music. I grew up in the Dirties 30s music. And then I found the 1950s and good old rock and roll, man. So they are solely responsible for, passing on that torch to me. And the love of music and the love of history. So yeah, I mean, history is fading. I think my thing about it, when I think about it, is, I don't think a lot of, moms and dads now. There's not too many people that are left, that grew up in the 1920s or 30s or 40s, So, I feel that part of life is slipping away because you don't have the main people who used to drive that. And not a lot of kids in this day and age, have a great grandparent anymore. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of children who never got to witness the greatest generations of all, man. I mean, most of us are the feral ones. We grew up in the generation if you get stepped out of line, somebody whoop your ass and all that kind of stuff. So we we grew up with metal slides and trying to be Evel Knievel and the brush with death. But yeah, absolutely, man. It's history in general. One of my biggest things is Theodore Roosevelt said this while he was in office. Teddy Roosevelt said before he passed away. Teddy Roosevelt said, "If we don't learn from history, then history is doomed to repeat itself." And I think what Teddy meant by that is you got to listen to the people before you. And I'm so happy that I got to live that with some of the best great grandparents of all, man. I gotta give it up to my grandma, because my great grandma, because she's the one that got me into piano, actually. And then it went from piano, guitar, bass, learning all the instruments. The only instrument I never sat down with and learned that I've always wanted to learn is the fiddle. I always wanted to learn the fiddle, man. I want to get. There's a fiddle kit, and I want to get the fiddle kit, and I want to build my own fiddle, and I want to figure out how to play the fiddle. Big reason why is I hope most of you know who Charlie Daniels is. Charlie Daniels, man, I'll tell you what. I got to see him in concert. I was blown away. His craftsmanship. I mean, he played the fiddle like none other. If you listen to "The Devil Went Down to Georgia," that is him. A just amazing, amazing fiddle player. But yeah, so I mean that's make sure I didn't miss anything else from you guys. Okay. Um, so yeah, I mean I do agree that history has taken a back seat a little bit. Um, prime reason for that is because by the time the Great Bandstand came about on TV, uh, they would not put any at that time in history. They would not put any African Americans um, on the Great Bandstand at first, and they wouldn't let them play their diddley bows and their homemade guitars they built. They had to get like a Gretsch or a Gibson. They had to get something um, like that to play because they didn't like it. They called those instruments grotesque, and it was so that's kind of what started people forgetting that these instruments that I build, CBG or folk art instrument, is what started history. And if you look beyond like blues, if you go to bluegrass, I'll tell you what, man, they ain't nothing like being up in Appalachia. I'll tell you what. Um, Another thing about music, if you want to talk about music theory and history, bluegrass, man. Them banjos. Some of them guys made banjos out of a maple. They cut it off a tree, then they, cut it out for your fifth string. And they would take pots and pans, flip the pots and pans over. If they caught a deer or something, they would skin it, and then they would hang that up, let that dry. Then they would take their hide, put it over the banjo, and take screws or nails to hold it in, and then strum it up with whatever they had. And see, most people don't even know that about the original banjo was basically some guy hobbling it together out of an oak or a pine tree and using a pot that you cooked with and then flipping it over and using cowhide, as the banjo, as the head, because most people know that you use drum heads for banjos. All of them are drum heads. And then you have your two big giant plates, brass plates that screw into them. So yeah, people don't even realize that, banjos were once started like that too. So yes, everything, history has been downplayed to where people forget about history, that the instruments that you love and play nowadays, if it weren't for them hillbillies and it weren't for, well, like Leo Fender, for example, guys. Um, Leo was never a player. Leo Fender, he could make guitars, man. So I'm taking this guy here, my fret dresser, putting it over my fret. I think you guys can see it down there. I'm just seeing all your comments. Put that buffing wheel on there. Now I don't have any buffing compound left, so I just take a little bit of my saliva, just a little bit. Look how shiny that is. Nice and shine. See how these are kind of dull? So when I do my fretboards, typically they're all yardsticks. the thick yardsticks. You have to use thick ones, not skinny ones. Because these are what I use is 1 by 2 by 3. What I use is one by 2 by 3. Typically, I'll start out at 32 inches, the wood, because you have to know once you cut this away back here for the neck, then you have to measure. I did this in an earlier video, but you measure from where the butt end of the box meets to where this comes out. Generally, you'll find that most of your heels are going to be 11 to 13 or 14 inches. Generally. Millie, do not fall off there. Be careful. That's sharp stuff's up there. But yeah, just go over your frets. Oops, I still got my jumbo in my hand. But yeah, so I don't have any buffing compound left. I have to get more. But it's no big deal. You just take a little bit of your saliva, go like this. Because your saliva is lightly acidic. Put your dresser in place. Yeah, I gotta turn it up a little bit more. And another thing you want to do, I'll do this in my next video. I should have done it with this one, but I had almost 8 hours that day until the sun went down, and it went from being 75 to 30 degrees. I had to get the stain to dry to get the poly on, because the poly was going to take another, when I left it outside for another 3.5 hours, and then the next morning the poly was dry. So I had to do it fast. I had to get my fretwork done. So the next one, I'll do frets with you guys. As a matter of fact, this guy right here. Here, let me turn it around. So your fretboards fit in here, and this is the depth stopper, so you don't go over. You get that done, but I always put my frets on before I stain, because I'll have to sit here forever and go through to clear all the gunk out. So it's just better to do it. And then when I stain my guitar, I come in here like this, and then I do a quick little pass like this, and then not even a half a minute later, I take my towel and I clean my frets off. I don't let them get crap all over them. But the poly gets on it even after you wipe it off, because this stuff, man, is awesome. Oops. This stuff right here is absolutely incredible and expensive. These are expensive. This is $10 for this little guy here. I think it was like $35 for the big guy. That's why I get little guys. I mean, but yeah, so we'll do the next guitar. I will do a fret video. It takes forever. It takes to cut your slots and to be very careful. Then clear them out of all the wood dust. Then I come back with a paper towel and wipe everything off. And then I get my frets laid and pounded in. And that takes it takes a long time. It's about like 2.5 hours to carefully cut and make sure that none of these are crooked. Cut them, and then putting your frets in, chopping them off, and then I take this guy and have to go get the burrs off the side so you're not cutting your fingers. Both sides will, it has a little bit sticking out, so you got to cut those off. Then you got to square your frets up. I don't know how well you can tell how scooped they are. I'm out on my frets after Fender and Gibson, which they use the same frets by Jescar. These are all Jescar, straight from Jescar, because they don't have the Fender name on it or Gibson name on it. They're straight from Jescar, the same ones that are used, like my Zero. That one is a jumbo, which all Fenders have jumbo frets from top to bottom. Some Gibsons, like the older Gibsons, some of them are like medium frets, medium, which is what I choose to use, are mediums. And then, yeah, my super jumbo for my zero fret, because bone is also expensive, so trying to actually use a real bone nut, yikes. That's about $200-300 stab of getting bone. Bone is expensive. But this job is also tedious. And then another thing what I'll do is I'll grab a paper towel after I'm done, and I go over top of them. And another thing, I've already done this, but this is gonna take a little bit to dress all this. But if you're gonna build guitars too, man, you gotta use these. It's for your fret. To check your frets. I put my neck in the jig, so my neck is like this, and then I'll come back. You don't do it straight. You never use these straight, okay? You never put them straight on. What you want to do is you want to come in at a slight angle and wiggle it back and forth and wiggle it. So you wiggle it back and forth like this slightly, and then like this. So you want to make sure that your frets are level. And if your frets aren't level, and I got one more high, I got a high spot right there. So I'm gonna have to take my grinder, or not my grinder, take my sandpaper and lightly sand that one. So I always get this guy. Another guy back there that I have is for my actual 6-string guitars. It's a giant long. It does 24-inch and 25 to 25 5-inch Fender Gibson, and most every other like PRS and all that. To check for bowing in your neck. You can't use it as a fret leveler. That's why you use your actual fret leveler for it. A little bit of saliva. And I always set this to about, always set your, if you're going to use a Dremel, always set this guy at like a, now, I'd say like a medium. This is in between 2 and 3. I'll knock it back down to 2. Because you're not wanting to burn your frets, you're just wanting to polish them. Let's say that you didn't go buy these. Let's say you didn't buy these. Tape them all. But honestly, get these, because taping them all will take you a little bit to tape them. It is a giant glorified pain in the ass to tape. Been there, done that, don't miss it. I love these guys better. But yeah, just use a little bit of your saliva, throw it over the top. If you don't have polish, which I don't have any polish left. And I'll tell you what, an old timer, let me scoot up just yeah, there we go. The old timers are the ones that taught me that trick about using your saliva. Because some of them wouldn't want to use car detailing wax. So they would just a little bit, line it up. Just a tiny bit more. You know, just take your time. Nice and easy. Alright, let me turn this off for a second. It's not that loud, but I don't want to talk over myself. Let's see where we're at. We were right. We're right on this one. Okay. Okay, so stop for a second. The old timers are the ones who taught me that. I learned from old timers, and when I say old timers, I'm talking about like guys who grew up with the Dust Bowl and uh, 20s and 30s, and um, most of them in their young 50s. By a certain point in their life, and um, they just taught me all their wisdom. So I don't have no fancy education. You don't need a fancy education to do this. It's not rocket science. But you have to take your time. You have to learn. It's trial and error. But if you really want to learn, buy if somebody's got like a $50 POS guitar that needs refretting or fret leveling, that you can do another different hot pickup in it or do something. Learn that way first. You know, because this does take time. This it takes a lot of patience. Like I said, just getting these cut and then getting these pounded in here, and then every time I'd pound 2 or 3 in, I'd stop. I'd get my fret leveler. I come in. Like I said, go in at an angle. Don't hold it straight. Don't hold it straight like this. Come in a little bit of an angle. Even some guys turn around like this and use the other side. You can do whatever. I like to use the flat side because you're not wanting to roll it. You come in at an angle. Like I missed one there, so I'll have to take my my block and carefully sand over them. But it might help once I polish it. It's not too bad. This is harder because you don't have a truss rod to work with. These are it's a solid block. So they're a little hard, but just keep taking your time. Man, those look so good. So that's the bottom. Okay, here we go. We're gonna get right up. Oh, I love that warm gloss. There you go. You see that shine? See that shimmer? It looks so good. Yeah, so the hardest part for me is definitely going to be soldering. Another thing I'm going to teach you guys is my lugs. So you get your positive and negative lug. I don't have the oh man, what's the shit called? It's the grease stuff you put on before whatever you're gonna solder. So what I do is I take some sandpaper where I'm gonna solder, and that works just fine. I can't remember what that damn shit's called. I just drew a blank in my mind. I said it to myself earlier. It'll come to me. But yeah, just take your time, man. This stuff always takes time. Patience. Patience. Like this one's got a little bit of poly on it. Because your objective of this, the reason you don't want to put it on high, is because A, you don't want this thing to go everywhere, because it will, and you don't want it to get hot. So you can either A, not use your own saliva, B, use your own saliva, or C, go to Stumac or something, and you get those polishing kits they got. But if you can't drop 50, 60 bucks, just do it this way, man. Because nobody's gonna know. Unlike me, I'm doing this in front of you, so y'all know. But I'm not ashamed of it. Because if it worked for those old timers I used to hang out with and learn a lot of shit from, if it worked for them and the guitars they played and the people they used to tune for and repair their guitars, if it worked for them, it's gonna work for me. Growing up with some of them old timers, especially my grandpa, God rest his soul, 23 years gone this year. And his buddies, I remember the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then it's KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. So the saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, meaning like if it's worked for the same way forever, then you don't need to change it. Just keep it the same damn way it's been operating and working, and it'll be just fine. That's what that means. I guess it kind of depends on which holler you grew up in, I guess. But yeah, just take your time. Man, these things are sparkling so good. And I'll tell you what. And the other thing too is everybody's different. Sweating, make sure I ain't sweating on that. So after I'm done doing this, talk about a few more things before we end the day with you. And I'll show you guys what that hardtail is going to look like there. I got to go upstairs and get some buttons. And I appreciate some of you guys popping in and out. Like I said, I know it's Monday. I know some of you guys are at work or on a lunch break or, retired. Either way, I appreciate you guys chiming in for a minute or two. Just going back up one more time. Like I said, it's just some of this stuff is patience. All right. Oh, I got you a drink. Like some of that. Nice. Shit. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to kick the food. Son of a bitch. Damn it. Oh, just let me get a fucking drink. Oh, shit. Whew. Mm. But yeah, just take your time. Okay. Make sure I miss nobody's comments in. Alright. Like I said, I'm just going back one more time here. Whew. You know, I like to polish them because my fingers are going to be on them. And if I do that, once I get this bad boy strung up, and the only difference regular guitar, um, these take just a few different turns of I'm going to stretch the strings out before the strings finally set. And what I like to do is I like the tension. I leave it alone for like a day or a day and a half and don't play it and just let it sit in the guitar rack. And the tension itself, you know, it'll take care of itself. And you'll have to tune it up one more time. And then after that, tune it to whatever you want. I like open tuning. 3 strings, GDG, EBE. Or like this one is going to be like Dadgad. Open tuning. Because A, I like slides. And B, I like open tuning too because not just for slides, although open tuning you should use what open tuning means. Like if you press, let me get this down. I'll show you. Some of you are like me where you need like a visual confirmation, and that's totally fine. Okay. All right. Now, let's take my shirt. And we've got shiny, shiny, shiny frets. Look at that. Yeah. So what open tuning does, besides being perfect for if you're going to try to play a slide, which typically I use my middle finger or I use my ring finger. I don't like my pinky. I broke my hands too many times to where I've got to... Yeah. A lot of times you'll see people with a pinky. Sometimes you see them with the ring finger, which I use my ring finger most times. But I like to use my middle finger sometimes, just to try to get, like, especially if I'm going down low, like this. I can just get it better versus, like, my pinky. because my pinky's a short pinky. Um, but open tuning is perfect. So for six string, try Dadgad. Try Dadgad, and you won't need a capo. Try Dadgad, and you won't need a capo. Um, and Dadgad is like universal. And let's say like if you're playing a note, right? If you're playing a note, let's say that you're down here, and you went to go for like a D or a G, and let's say you missed it and hit an E or something like that. Um, and because it's open tuning, it doesn't hear like you're playing the wrong note. Like if you accidentally miss the note and you hit a different note, it's not going to sound horrible with open tuning. I mean anything, Dadgad, E B E, is it E B E G, E B E? I forgot to write it down. I don't remember. You could try another open tuning besides Dadgad. Try E. You might have to look it up. E B E, E B E, E B, E B E E B. You'll have to look it up. But try. You could do Dadgad or Open E. Unless you're like more of a rock guy, then you're gonna play drop D. But blues is pretty much about as murky as it gets. I'm in Lou. About as murky as it gets, and open tuning is just perfect. Especially, let's say that you don't. Let's say you're not a slide player. You guys know I'm a slide player, and I love to play slide when I can. I can't wait to play slide on this thing a little bit because it's gonna sound good with that retro 1950 style P90. But doing slides are so much fun, Another thing about like tuning. Let's say like you don't know tuning, get a book, learn tuning if you want. Because if you're gonna be in a band with somebody, be like, okay, this is the key of E, or we're gonna kick in with drop D and then quickly go to da 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 da. But you want to know what to tune your strings to. But open tuning is like universal. Use open tuning. But the EBE, I kind of can't remember what it is. I like Dadgad though, but E is like very muddy, murky, and that's usually what a lot of old blues, E and C, that the old blues is in, and just it sounds good on a guitar. And that's what's fun about these is that it's EBE. Well, three string. EBE. I can't remember. For four string, I played three strings for so long, and I'm like, I want to build myself a four string because I have no four string in my arsenal that's built by me. And that's where this one comes in, and I think I might jump on the four string instead of a three string tray now. But that means that I use a lot more tuners. But it's just about like what you like. But like if you're gonna be in a band with somebody, and somebody's like, hey, play Zeppelin, well, you need to know the tuning. And you need to know what pedals to use. Like, whatever you're gonna do, if you're gonna do some, if you're gonna do, sorry, I was checking my frets again. If you're gonna play, not just Zeppelin, I was trying to say, like, music. You have to know what pedals to use, what the tuning is, what guitar is used, because it's not like, let's say somebody played a Les Paul, and you try to use a PRS, and you even tune it, it's not going to sound the same. It's not the same dynamic. It's not the same wood, or it's not the same. The pickups aren't the same. Like that's why most guys prefer anything, from the 50s and 60s, 70s, and 80s, because shit was built good. There's hardly any guitars now on the market that like I want, truthfully. I would love to get another Dan Electro again. I would love to have a. I've always wanted to own a Fender Thin Line. I've never owned one. I've played one by other people. other owners. I've always wanted a Fender Thin Line, especially a Tobacco Burst, and it's double bound. Um, I've always wanted a Gretsch. Always wanted a Gretsch. I love the pickups. I love the way the old school ones look. Um, even the 335, for example. But that's why these ideas come my brain to like build these kind of guitars, except for this one. But obviously, if you play the game or watch the show, because the show's based off the game, um, it's a lot of '50s music, and country music. So tellies were involved, soap bars were involved in a lot of that stuff. So that's why I was like, well, I need to get a soap bar because I want it to sound like the 1950s and have that, post-apocalyptic Fallout vibe that some dude built himself an awesome guitar that looks beat the shit, but it works. And you know what? I think this thing's gonna sound awesome with all these holes, especially when I have this strapped up and I'm sitting there playing. I play up here, play about right here. I don't like it to be low. I can't bend down like that anymore. um, but it's just about you. It's about having fun. Your own artistic. Your own. Well, yeah, your own artistic. Identity and what you want to build and do. Um, but it's just about staying true and real, and these things are, I cannot wait. So many people love to talk shit, and I just laugh because, A, I like it. I know what I'm doing, and B, yeah, fuck you. But once this thing's done, this thing is gonna bark louder than I think it's gonna bark louder than I even expect. Because I've heard guys that have these pickups and built some guitars, but nothing like what I'm building here. So I'm anxious to see. Like I think we're gonna get like that old you know muddy 1950s greaser type of rockabilly stuff. Really, truly off of this thing. I can't wait to find out. I really cannot wait to find out. I am chomping at the bit. Can't wait. Seriously. So I'll wrap it up for today. I got I'm probably going over my frets one more time. Um, they're smooth enough, but I don't know. Just one more time, I might go enjoy some music. But you guys get the gist of what I'm trying to do and talk about. And you guys seen this thing. I can't wait to get this hardtail on there. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you. Okay. It's gonna be about right. Oops, right. There. So. So yeah, that thing's gonna look good on there. And then get a nice little strap button on the back. I might have to drill into this and put a strap button there. Or I might have to just drill into this side here. And then what I'm gonna do is the top. The top is secure, but to make it even better is I'm going to pop the top and then take some of my glue just to this corner here and just glue it down. Like I said, it's a nice tight fit, but I want it to be a little bit more, just a little tighter look, just a little neat, just a little neater. So man, I can't wait. I just gotta get wiring done. I gotta find a good day for that because I gotta hold stuff steady. My 250. 250K pot. Get this thing going. But this thing's gonna be fun, guys. I'll tell you what. This thing is gonna be awesome, and I can't wait. I'm excited. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. I'll either be back tomorrow or some point this week, but I just need to get some little things done. Get that clear on there so it'll help protect that sticker, and see if I can either stencil fallout and then wood burn on there, or just use my backup plan and put the sticker on there, and then I'm gonna clear over the whole thing uh, since this isn't sealed anymore. You got air flowing in here and out, so to be able to help protect it, I'm gonna clear it, and it'll help make the back pop. So I've got a few decisions to make about what I want to do, but yeah, I hope that helps answer some questions for you guys. I appreciate some of you guys, chiming in and out. I know it's a Monday, so I appreciate probably some of you guys on your lunch break. It's showing me I don't have anybody right now, and that's all right. But I hope most of you guys can enjoy this later. I'm excited about this because I think it looks killer. I really do. I'm going to take it outside after I do one more pass and, take some pictures because the Bretts really pop now. And they feel great. They shine great. And yeah, guys, so just thank you guys. I can never say enough. Thank you for all the support. You guys are awesome. Follow me along also on Instagram. It's American Heritage Guitars 79 on Instagram. American Heritage Guitars on TikTok. Same logo. You guys always see it's the same logo. So Instagram, TikTok. I'm forgetting a couple, but that's usually where I'm at. I've got a Patreon, all that stuff. I'm trying to get that set up. Because wood's expensive, parts are expensive. To just try to keep going, because I got this guitar and another one, and then I'm out of wood. I'm out of neck blanks. So yeah. But yeah, I just hope that I answered some of your questions. What I've said today has kind of helped some of you guys out there. I really hope. I really hope all of that does help people out there. I help you guys out there. You get more from me, Millie? But yeah, just thank you guys. I can never thank you guys enough. You guys are awesome. If you want a guitar built by me, if you want to see the ones that are still up for sale, I can do a video. Just blue blooper down here in the comments when it's uploaded, or go to Instagram, American Heritage Guitars 79, send me a message, or Braden, American Heritage Guitars. You'll see my ugly mug wearing my 10-gallon hat with my amazing wife. That is me. Send me a message, or Instagram, and we can go from there about details and everything else. If you would love an amazing build, or you want me to build you a Fallout build, which means more boxes and more lead flying. So yeah, it's cool. So if you want a Fallout inspired box like this, let me know, because I think this is awesome. It's gonna sound awesome here before too long. Hopefully by the end of the week. I've got some other stuff cooking here by next week, but yeah, and just go from there, guys. That's about enough for today for me. Phew. But like I said, I love you guys. Just thank you so much for the support. You guys are awesome. And we'll catch you on the flip side, the dark side, and then back here at AHG some other time. Love you guys. Everybody have a good rest of your week. I'll be back here in the next couple of days with you guys. For sure. But yeah, I want to have fun. I want to do a lot of stuff. Like I've said to you guys here in video after video. Try to do a build for, a family. If you're a husband and wife, or if you're divorced and dad and a kid, or mom and a kid, whatever it might be. But I want to do a build video to get you and your kid into music, especially building a diddly bow, which means a one string. It's fun. You can make it electric and plug it into an amp too, because that's where music started, man. It started in the Delta. Good old swamp music, and everything else we know and love from today pays homage from classical music into what blues is, and rock and country and everything. So yeah, I just want to have fun. I hope my stuff is fun. I know some of the stuff is probably boring to people, and I don't blame you if you're like not into guitars. And some people think like this stuff is easy and it's fast, and if you're doing intricate builds, no. But diddly bows. I want to build a diddly bow, and I've got an old coffee pot upstairs, like the old ones you put over a campfire, the one that has the looks like turquoise. And I want to build a diddly bow out of that and call it Cup of Joe. Um, but yeah, guys. So I mean, if you're somebody too that if you make picks, if you make slides, pedals or whatever it might be, man, get a hold of me. I'd love to work with you. I'd love to do a video, or I would love to show your products. All of us have fun together. Because American Heritage Guitars is, yes, I cuss. Sorry, I can't be PG all the time. But, it's built around family. It's built around fun. I want to spread the stuff that I learned many years ago. I want to give that back, in vocal terms and layman's, and come on. I think this is cool as shit. I don't care what anybody says. This is cool as shit. It's cool. And you got a soap bar, you got a 1950 replica soap bar P90. Come on. I mean, is this not cool? I know I'm just nerding out, but I hope other guitar nerds will nerd out because I think this is cool as hell. It's awesome. It's cool. It's cool. Now go play the video game. I'm playing it again too, guys. Don't worry about that. But I just love you guys. Thank you so much for love and support, guys. You guys are absolutely freaking incredible. And I'll be back. And I really need to plug the fan back in because I'm hot. And I am moke. I love you guys so much. Be you, stay true, be real. Be yourselves. And if you're someone who's struggling from drugs, get help. Booze, get help. I've been clean 12 years there from booze and 17 years from hard drugs. So get yourself clean. Get yourself clean, or I'm going to come over there and I'm going to take my size 9.5 good old shit-kicking boot and put it up your butt to help you get clean. Or I'm just going to whack you with a cigar box. I almost hit the camera on that one. I'm glad I did. But guys, just help people. Try to be kind. I know it's easier said than done. Shine a little light in the darkness. We're all walking through that tunnel with that train, and you just need that big old light to tell us everything's A-okay, man. Be about music. As Bob Marley would say, one love. That's what Bob Marley would say. And as Bob Ross once said too, we don't make mistakes. We make happy accidents. Bob Ross was the man. I always loved Bob Ross's work. You know what I mean? So, I kind of consider myself doing this like I'm a Picasso, I'm a Bob Ross. I don't paint. I build these cool things. I know I'm being modest. It's me. It's myself. But guys, go build yourselves one of these. If you guys want help, reach out and get a hold of me. You can type a message here. But American Heritage Guitar 79 on Instagram. Same logo you guys always see. Or TikTok. Or Facebook, which is Braden. American Heritage Guitars. You will see me in my 10-gallon hat. Sitting next to my wonderful wife. And that is me. Reach out to me if you want me to build you one. Or you want advice on getting started on building one of these awesome things. Guys, just... Now, if you know what that was from, we can be friends. And I'll just say it's from Jackal. But anyways, so, I'm sorry. I need my nicotine break. I got a headache. And I'm sweating. I need that damn fan turned back on because it's hot. Too soon to put in the ACs, but anyways, guys, I love you guys. Just thank you for tuning in. I hope all of this stuff I did, helped you guys understand these kind of guitars, or you want to build guitars, reach out to me. I'll be happy to talk to you till the cows come home, and I talk to you blue in the face, but give me a good old ring-a-ding or reach me, American Heritage Guitar 79, on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. On Instagram or TikTok or Braden American Heritage Guitars on Facebook. Like I said, you will see me wearing my 10-gallon hat. That is me. And not to wish my background is the same. My logo. I think that'll wrap it up, guys. But yeah, we need to, get some things, in here, there, and everywhere, and yeah. But like I said, guys, stay safe, be safe. Um, Nothing but love to y'all, to you and your families, and music is the heart and soul of us all and brings us all together. I strongly believe that. But I love y'all.